Thymesia is a game that's been getting a lot of hype lately, and today you want to know if you should actually spend your money on it or if you should probably skip it. Today we're going to be diving in and talk about everything you need to know about the game and give you a more in-depth analysis about the game so you can make the right choice. Thymesia is a Souls-like game very similar to Bloodborne and Dark Souls. A lot of the game's inspiration and a lot of the game's concept has been heavily focused on these two particular games. On top of that, guys, if you notice right off the bat, just by looking at the gameplay, and for those of you who got a chance to play the beta, you will notice that the atmosphere around it and the surrounding areas do give you this nice old age gothic feel, which should be very reminiscent for you guys who love Bloodborne. So if you guys like Bloodborne, if you guys like Dark Souls, if you guys love Elden Ring, there's definitely a game that should be up your alley. In addition to that, guys, one of the neatest elements about the game is its combat system and how it makes it a little bit different than stuff that you come accustomed to. If you want to kind of get a feel for what the combat system feels like, it reminds me a lot of Sekiro, so that should give you guys a better point of reference regarding the game. But before we dive in and talk about all the really cool stuff about the game, like the plague weapons and all its cool attributes, let's go ahead and talk about the story. In Thymesia, you are going to be playing as Corvus, and you're going to be trying to protect a kingdom called the Kingdom of Hermes. Now, this particular kingdom has fallen into an age of calamity due to the fact that there was a wide-spreading virus, and this particular virus was actually beneficial and also detrimental due to the fact that this particular virus was actually used to enhance healing and to actually be able to use a thing called plague weapons. Now, when the price of this particular virus became too steep, attempts to halt it were used, and also medicine was created to actually put a stop to it. But unfortunately, all of these were unsuccessful, which led us to a catastrophic consequence which was felt all around the realm. Within days, guys, the kingdom fell into chaos, and this led to infected monsters prowling the streets who were thirsty for blood and killing the population. Basically, finding the cure for this particular virus was pretty much lost. Now here is where you come in as Corvus, because you are the last hope for this kingdom. Basically, the fate of Hermes rests in your feathered hands. Now, in order for you to find out the actual truth of what happened and what transpired, that is all buried within the deep memories of yourself, which are left scattered throughout all the levels you will be able to participate in the game. Now, being able to retrieve these memories and paste these memories together will help us save the kingdom and also discover secrets that lie within. Well, now that you know what you're in for, let's talk about the stuff that you'll have in your arsenal to be able to put up a fight. Remember, you are a raven, and being able to be a raven is going to give you access to a couple things no other person have. Basically, you're going to have a thing called a feather, which is very similar to a throwing dagger, which interrupts enemies' attacks. You'll also be able to perform executions very swift and very rapidly. In addition to that, guys, as a raven, you will have a claw that will allow you not only to inflict damage to the enemy, but also steal their weapons, hence plague weapons. Now, speaking about plague weapons, this is where things become very amazing, because you'll be able to steal these particular plague weapons from the enemies themselves who have this particular virus. This way, you'll give the enemy a taste of their own medicine, allowing you guys to survive this horror that lurks in the shadows within the kingdom. Now, don't think it's going to be that easy, guys, because there's going to be a ton of enemies roaming the streets of Hermes. In addition to that, guys, there are also going to be mini bosses, and there's also going to be bosses. You got to come prepared to make sure you harness every skill you have and be able to use every plague weapon you've been able to unlock. Speaking of unlock, guys, there's definitely a lot of secrets found within the game that you're going to want to make sure you check every nook and cranny to make sure not only do you unlock all the memories, but you also get everything that's available for you to have at your disposal and for your arsenal. Now, the game does not feature any difficulty, so you'll be able to play the game throughout the entirety through one particular difficulty. That doesn't mean that the game is actually easy and it's not challenging at all. The game will challenge you even though there is no difficulty settings, because if you don't use the wound mechanic correctly, you won't be able to perform. Now, talking about the wound mechanic, the game works very different than other games where you usually just hack and slash the enemy and you deplete their health bar. This game works a little bit different, where you're actually going to hack and slash and you are going to apply wound. Now that you applied wound, the enemy now will be wounded. This doesn't mean that the enemy will die. It just means that the enemy is wounded. You're going to have to use your claw in order to be able to take that wound and convert that wound into ultimate death. Now, the way this works is when you hit an enemy, you're going to notice that the health bar actually turns into two colors. It turns into white and to green. White represents the health of the enemy. and the green represents the wound of the enemy. Now, if you don't take the wound with the claw, the enemy won't die, it'll stay alive until you actually do so. So this is a very new, interesting mechanic that we haven't seen in previous games that gives us a little bit more of a challenge because the enemy could always regen its health if we don't remove that wound from them. Now, the game does feature multiple endings, so there is a bit of replayability if you're going to see different endings for your particular character, depending on how many memories you collected and what paths you decided to take. Now, you'll be able to get your hands on Thymesia August the 18th. In addition to that, guys, it's going to be released on the PlayStation 5, Xbox, Switch, and also PC. So make sure you guys get your pre-orders if you decide to pick up the game. Now, we will be covering the game extensively here on the channel, so make sure you guys subscribe if you haven't already to stay up to date to everything Thymesia. We're getting you started with this everything you need to know, but in addition to that, we're going to tell you guys what are the best weapons to use, what are the best plague weapons, what are the best starting guides, and where to find these secrets that will give you a upper hand within the game. So check out these videos that are popping up right now on the screen that are going to help you along the road with Thymesia. If you guys are enjoying our coverage here on the channel, do me the huge favor, guys, drop a comment, drop a like, but most importantly, subscribe to the channel, turn on all your notifications so you guys won't miss when our videos go live. We cover everything that has to do with RPGs, loot, and shooters, so make sure you guys keep it locked on the channel. If you want to show a little bit of love and support and love what we're doing here in the channel, do consider becoming part of the Bolt Nation by clicking the join button down below or dropping a thank you. We would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys on the next video.